Hi guys, it's Silverwolf. Yes, I'm in my pajamas and I just woke up. I'm not filming it at the end of the month, but it's for the end of the month. So I was like, fuck it, may as well do it now, have it done, have it edited. Because I don't plan to get more books this month, so. But today I just wanted to do a little book haul. Mostly it was just to have a book haul for January. And then I realised, hang on, I got a few manga volumes and books that I don't remember actually saying that I got in a haul from months ago. So I'm just including it in this. So we'll start with my manga, just because there's more of them. This isn't exactly manga, it's actually a webtoon that they're putting into books. This is Unordinary. I've never finished this. I don't even know if it is finished on webtoon. I only didn't finish it because I lost interest in reading for a good while in the middle of reading it because of my depression. And then I found out that they're putting it into a book format so I can finally read it whenever I want to, because webtoon, I get it, authors want to earn money for their stories and all that. I'm not paying for individual chapters that will then, or episodes that will then vanish after like a month and I'll have to pay for it again to reread it. No, not everyone's doing that. I know that it's an optional thing. I understand why it's a thing. I can't afford to do that. I can afford to get the book format, one-time payment, and then just reread it whenever I want to. I don't remember what episode I got to, because I haven't been on webtoon in a long time, to be fair. I don't remember how far I got into I didn't get to you. I think somewhere around episode 218 is where I got to, but I read enough of the webtoon to know that I am enjoying this story, but I would much rather have it in book format so I can reread it whenever I want to. But it's only in the last year, I think, that it's been coming out to be published properly. So I only have 1 and 2, which are... So there's 6 chapters in the first one. So I'm assuming that's 6 episodes. There's 7 chapters in this one. From what I'm aware of what happens, because like I said, I haven't finished it, or I'm not caught up on the webtoon version of what happens. Basically, we follow this dude, John, who is a normal human and goes to a school where everyone they have an ability. So like, I think, what's his name? The blonde dude. I forget his name. His is, I think, electricity. I don't remember all of their abilities, I will say that, because like I said, I haven't read this in like a long time, over a year. He's the only one that doesn't have an ability, and he gets bullied a lot, but he's best friends with Serafina, who's like probably the most popular girl, because she's so powerful and kind of badass. But John has a secret. I don't want to spoil too much. He has a secret. Shit happens. There's a whole plot line to do with I think the FBI or some sort of government thing that does not seem to like people with abilities. Because not everybody has abilities. This is just a school for people with abilities. But from as far as I got in it, it's a good read. I do recommend it. It's a very interesting plotline, and there's a lot of characters. My favourite characters are Blake and Isaac. Is that his name? This is Blake. Arlo, that's his name, the blonde dude. Eisen, he's a wee blonde dude, and he's a bit of a nerdy character, but he's probably one of my favourites because he has some moments where you're kind of like, oh, he's a bit of badass. And I like that. Then I have volume 2 and 3 of Assassin's Creed Blade of Xiaojun. I never ended up putting this in a video vlog anywhere after I read the first one. But we follow both Xiaojun and her descendant in the modern world, going through her memories to try and find something. The girl in the modern day doesn't know that she's being played by Templars. They're the ones putting her through the memories to try and contain her anger. They're basically pretending that this is like an anger management thing. If you learn about your descendants and how they strive to control their anger, then you can too, but really they're just using her to try and get information. I really liked the first volume. I haven't gotten into these 2 yet either. Same reason as Unordinary. It happens frequently, unfortunately, but I have the 2nd and the 3rd now, so I can continue it. But she's very badass. I really like Xiaojun. Then we have volumes 1 through 9 of Spy Family. 4 is not there at the minute because I'm currently reading it and it's in my room. We follow this dude who's Twilight, who goes under the alias of Lloyd Forger to create a fake family for one of his missions because he's a spy. The girl he ends up finding to participate in this farce to be his wife, his fake wife, is actually an assassin, and they are enemies, but neither know who the other actually is. Because she works for the SSS, I think it was, who are direct enemies of him. Basically, he's trying to take down a corrupt government, from what I've gathered of it. I'm only 4 volumes in. But he also finds a daughter to adopt as part of this farce, because it has to be a realistic family, so of course you have to have a kid. The girl he ends up getting is a telepath, and it's kind of just following them as Twilight is doing his missions. The girl's called Anya, and the lady is called Yor, and it's just kind of following them through shenanigans, to be fair. So far, I'm enjoying it, and it does have an anime. I haven't watched it yet because I want to read the manga first. Is it just me that's bothered when a manga is ongoing and they start making an anime? Because that happened with Yona of the Dawn, and there was a big gap in Yona of the Dawn's manga releases because there was a really bad, I think it was an earthquake or a hurricane, something like that happened in Japan, and the author of Yona of the Dawn ended up getting injured in it, so she had to take a break, and that caused a pause, I think, or it was part of the reason that there was a pause on the anime of Yona of the Dawn. And now they've just never gone back to have a season 2, even though I think they should, because it is a fantastic series. But they started making it in the middle of the series, so then they'd eventually catch up with the manga, and they'd have to wait for like a good couple of volumes before they could make more episodes without having filler, and it's very frustrating. But yeah, I also got the other 2 volumes of Mars Red. It's only a 3-volume series because it's based off of a play. I wish it was longer. Haven't read these 2 yet, but I've read the first one. But we follow this journalist called Aoi, who her best friend and her brother had joined the war. This is like really, really old Japan, and she doesn't believe the death certificate she was given of her best friend dying during the war. She doesn't believe he's dead. So she's on a journey to find the truth, and unintentionally, she ends up seeming to get involved with vampires because her best friend has been turned into a vampire and is now part of a unit of vampires to hunt vampires. That's the best summary I can give to you of it, but the character designs are so cool, honestly. But yes, only 3 volumes, it's very short. I enjoyed it enough to get the other 2 because what's another 2 volumes? Like, it's very short, it's fine. But that's all of my manga / comic related ones. Now I will go on to my books. I got Scythe just before Christmas, I think. I don't actually know what this is about. I just know a lot of people liked this and hated the 3rd book, and I'm curious about it. What if death was the only thing left to control? In a perfect world, the only way to die is to be gleaned by a professional scythe. When Citra and Rowan are chosen to be apprentice scythes, they know they have no option but to learn the art of killing. However, the terrifying responsibility of choosing their victims is just the start. Corruption is the order of the day, and Citra and Rowan need to stick together to fight it. Then they are told that one of them will have to glean the other. Well, that's just depressing. So you're friends with each other and now you're gonna have to kill each other. I have heard that people liked this series, but just that the 3rd one was either really slow or that didn't have the same oomph with it. But I'm curious, so I got it. Plus, the covers look really cool. Then I got The Handmaid's Tale. I was planning to read this at some point anyways, but I specifically got it because of the whole bullshit of America trying to ban books that are really important and, you know, repeating history of a lot of things. Germany in particular. I didn't know this was a thing, and I don't know if it's just mine, but it came with a little vocabulary thing. Some of the things I already know, and then most of them I haven't a clue what they mean, so I'm actually grateful that they have the little vocabulary thing. I don't actually know what The Handmaid's Tale is about, like in detail. I just know that it deals with the suffering of women and the fact that it's getting banned because of feminist themes. The Republic of Gilead, I don't know how to pronounce that, offers Offred only one option: to breed. If she deviates, she will, like all dissenters, be hanged at the wall or sent out to die slowly of radiation sickness. That feels like it's already happened, I'm not gonna lie. Lovely, being killed for not wanting to have a baby. But even a repressive state cannot obliterate desire, neither Offred's nor that of the 2 men on whom her future hangs. brilliantly conceived and executed, this powerful evocation of 21st century America gives full rein to Margaret Atwood's devastating irony, wit, and astute perception. I do actually need to look up trigger warnings for this. I should have done that already. But so long as I know that they're happening, it's not as difficult to deal with. Queermisia? I don't know what that means. Queer erasure refers to the tendency to intentionally or unintentionally remove LGBTQ groups or people from record, or downplay their significance, which includes lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. This erasure can be found in a number of written and oral texts, including popular and scholarly texts. Misogyny, which is the central theme, slavery, racism, anti-Semitism, rape, sexual assault, and non-consensual polygamy, domestic abuse, depression and suicide, forced pregnancy and miscarriage, death of a child, and murder. Oh, this is going to be a very difficult read. Can anyone tell me whether or not, well, actually, considering what the story's about, I would assume that this is unfortunately in graphic detail when it comes to the rape scenes. Well, considering the back of it literally says her only point of existence is to breed, I would assume rape is probably in this. But it's gonna take me time to read that, and I need to be in a good mind space to read it, to be fair, because sexual assault is something I struggle to read, especially if it's graphic on page, because it can really throw me into a bad place. But because it'll take me a while to read it, if you can and you've read this, can you give me the pages that mostly rape happens on page, so then I can prepare myself going on to that page? And I'm expecting it to be a lot, to be fair, to be honest. It's just depressing that we literally write a lot of books like The Hunger Games and such, and The Handmaid's Tale, as a cautionary thing, and then of course you put cunts in power and they're gonna use it against you. Then I got The Song of Achilles. This is a Greek retelling involving Achilles, but I don't actually understand the back of it. I just know a lot of people liked it. Well, it says that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped and Achilles must go to war in distant Troy and fulfill his destiny. Torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus goes with him. Yeah, I've heard that people cried during this. I have no idea. I'm not really... I'm not very well versed, we'll say, in Greek mythology, but I am also aware that the retellings usually retell it the wrong way. Oh, it's raining. They retell it the wrong way, like they take out some important parts of a story. So I am a little worried in that regard, but we'll see how it goes. Then I got If We Were Villains. Don't remember what is meant to be happening in this. I know that a Clockwork reader really liked it. I watched her video on it. Don't remember anything she said, I just know that she liked it. But Oliver Marks has just served 10 years for a murder he may or may not have committed. On the day of his release, he is greeted by the detective who put him in prison. Detective Colborne is retiring and he wants to know what really happened a decade before. As a young actor at an elite conservatory, oh yeah, they're like theatre kids, all the characters in this, Oliver noticed that his talented classmates seemed to play the same characters on stage and off. Villain, hero, temptress. Though he was always a supporting role. But when the teachers changed the casting, a good-natured rivalry turns ugly and the plays spill dangerously over into real life. When tragedy strikes, one of the 7 friends is found dead. The rest face their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police and themselves that they are blameless. Now, that's a very interesting plot, and I have heard it multiple times that this is a really good book. I did get the second hand, and it does bother me that the spine is so bent. I mostly got it so quickly because they're trying to ban it in America, and I'm being precautionary in case it comes here, because it's fucking stupid. But yes, that I'm actually going to be doing that for a Dark Academia challenge on this channel this year, hopefully. Then I got Iron Widow. I don't remember putting this in a book haul. I love the covers on this, to be honest, but I got it on Amazon. Somehow it's a special edition and the front part isn't centered, so I don't know if I got someone else's print version of it, like they printed it themselves, or if that is meant to be off center. It's a mix of The Handmaid's Tale and Pacific Rim, which is ironic. Following Chinese history of Wu Zetian? They made a video on Instagram telling you how you pronounce all of the names and locations and such, but I can't remember how it's meant to be pronounced. But I think her name's Wu Zetian, who, if I remember correctly, was like one of the first female leaders in China. So it's kind of showing her getting to the top. Everyone's meant to be kind of morally grey, as far as I'm aware, but it sounds really cool. Okay, and then the last two I actually got together. I was given little gifts. They're also secondhand, and they came with the author's letter as well, because they're both fairy lit books. Oh, they're both purple too. That wasn't intentional. But the first one I got is The Red Scholar's Wick. It's kind of like underwater themed stuff. Well, it's actually kind of spacey as well. But the inside is like all kind of sea related. These two I mostly got for visual reasons, because most of my books, I will say, most of my books that I have on my shelf, even if I don't remember what the plot was when I got it, I read the back to get them. These two I didn't. I didn't read the back because I wanted to have at least 2 books where I'm going in a bit blind, purely out of curiosity. I do need to look up how to pronounce their names though, because these are, I think, Asian names, and I don't want to mispronounce them. But one of them says like Shai-Si, I think that's how you pronounce it. A bot maker, mother and scavenger, but those days are over now. Her ship has just been captured by the feared rice fish, leader of the Red Banner pirate fleet. Oh, it's a pirate one. Yay! Famous for their double dealing and cruelty. The best Shai-Si can hope for is to become an indentured servant and work out her days in peace. The worst is to be tortured to death for sport by the pirates who hold her life in their hands. Ricefish, sentient ship. It's a sentient ship? Are we having a sort of interspecies romance in this? I hope not, with a fucking ship. Hopefully he's like a human version of himself or something. Because how do you fuck a ship? I've watched Transformers fanfictions, but they always make something that it's not in the world to make that work, and it's still weird. I was quite young when I read those. Leader of the infamous Red Banner pirate fleet, wife of the Red Scholar. Or at least she was, until her wife died. Oh, it's Sapphic. Maybe. Until her wife died under suspicious circumstances. Jesus, I can't talk. Now isolated, alone, and unloved, Ricefish wants to find out who struck against them and why, and whether she and her people are still in danger. Set against a backdrop of an interstellar war against piracy and the 5 fleets' brutal fight to survive each other and the attackers arrayed against them. This is an exciting space opera and a beautiful romance from an exceptional SF. What does SF mean? But yes, this is Sapphic. Yay! I don't have enough of those books on my shelves because I don't not have like queer books on my shelves because they're queer. I've nothing wrong with them. It's always the plot that puts me off, but along with that, I have barely read any of my books. So for all I know, there could be queer relationships, and I just haven't a fucking clue. But like, I Hear the Sunspot, I DNF'd I Hear the Sunspot, which is a queer relationship story, because it's set in the modern day, and I just found it really boring storytelling-wise. I had nothing wrong with the actual relationship. I actually thought it was very cute. How things were coming about was really boring. But I do want more. I just want more diversity in my reading. I don't want the same white dude, white girl relationship who just fuck all the time. I want more than that. I just want good stories. I don't care who's really in it, to be honest. The other one I have is Forged by Blood. It is gorgeous though. The cover and the end pages. Oh my god. The book itself is also very pretty. That's so cool. And then the end papers. What I will say though, I don't like that the sprayed edges have the same photo as the front. That's one thing I don't like when people do that. I want something else that's related to the story on the pages if you're doing a little bit of art. But fair play for being able to manage to put it on the sprayed edges. I just don't like that it's the same photo as the front cover. But if it's like, if I'm setting it out like this, then it's fine, it looks fine. But the end papers, this is obviously going to be a love triangle, unfortunately. He actually reminds me of Felix. Not Stray Kids Felix, a character that I'm writing in my story, in one of my stories. It kind of looks like Felix. I hope she gets with him though, because he physically, he's way more attractive. Oh, he seems to have magic too. And you do not. You don't have magic. Get the fuck. Demi only wanted to survive to avoid the suspicion of the tyrannical Aegis, occupying her homeland to escape the king's brutal genocide of her people, the Oluso, and to live peacefully with her secretive mother while learning to control the blood magic that is her birthright. Ooh, that's why it's called Forged by Blood. But survival has given way to vengeance. A betrayal has cost her mother's life, and Demi demands payment. She bides her time until the devious Lord Equincy grants her the perfect opportunity. Kidnap the Age prince. Okay, one of them is going to be the prince, and one of them is going to be Equincy. I think the black guy is Equincy. Thank fuck, your name's really cool to be honest. And Blondie is the prince, is my guess. She sets out on her hunt with her childhood friend Colin in tow. Okay, Blondie's Colin, never mind. That's definitely Colin. He looks like a Colin in tow. But the way ahead proves far more dangerous than either of them could have imagined. For she and the prince share more than deadly secrets, and every moment will tangle them further into a forbidden, unmistakable attraction. Oh no, it's an enemies to lovers one. I hope this one's the prince then, if that's the case. Because he looks really generic, but their stance also feels more friends now that I know the friend is going with them. And they're back to back. If she is to claim justice for her mother and her people, Demi will not be able to trust anyone or anything. Not Colin, not her fledgling magic, not even her own heart. A tale of rebellion and redemption, love and lies, Forged by Blood is epic fantasy at its finest, richly steeped in Nigerian mythology. I will say, it looks really cool though, and honestly the art is gorgeous, but I am aware that people will not like the fact that I got this purely, and that one, purely because of visuals really, because I didn't read the back. Mostly because the back wasn't available on the photos on Depop. I wanted 2 new books that I know nothing about when I got them, and they're both own voices isn't the word that I'm looking for. It's by other groups of people. It's not just all these white people on my shelves, which is the majority of it, unfortunately, it seems like. I don't want to get them because, it is mostly a cast of black characters. I'm gonna love it. That's not the case. I do want to read more diverse books, but when it's in normal settings is really the only time that I put a book back down and DNF it, or if I'm just really bored. I just wanted new mystery books to fuck around with and see how it goes. That was my headphones that fell. Lovely. And while I'm at it, while I'm here, I'll just show a little unhaul as well. I don't remember if I mentioned this in my quarterly wrap up, whether I DNF'd it or not. I did. The Lost Apothecary. I talk about it a bit more in my quarterly wrap up. I'll put it up here. So I won't talk about much of it here, but basically you follow 2 timelines of someone in the modern day trying to find out what happened in the past to this apothecary who had been going around killing men who were like abusive and stuff. It was very boring. It wasn't as interesting as I wish it was. Part of me kind of wishes that it was an actual witch rather than an apothecary making poisons. There was this random child involved. There was a lot of talk on motherhood as well, and I have no interest in that. Honestly, things to do with pregnancies will usually turn me off of a book. I don't mind it being a part of a story if it makes sense. The whole waking up the next day after sex, that doesn't happen in this. But like waking up the next day after sex and all of a sudden being pregnant, it doesn't happen that fast. I don't like the pregnancy trope, but in this, it's not even a pregnancy trope, it's a discussion on like miscarriages and motherhood, whether you want to be a mother or you can't because something happened and the baby died, things like that. It's just a constant conversation, and I don't think that should have been the center of it, or at the very least I wouldn't have had a problem with it if everything else wasn't so boring. And then, and like yesterday or the day before that, I DNF'd House of Hollow. We follow these 3 sisters who 10 years prior to the story starting had been kidnapped to some degree. They vanished, and then a month later they showed up again, but completely different, visually and literally. And then 10 years later, their eldest sister, Grey, so it's Grey, Vivi, and Iris in age order, she goes missing again, and now Iris and Vivi have to try and figure out what happened to her, and they're finding out more about what happened to them because none of them remember it. And it's involving like magic. It's meant to be spooky, thrillery kind of thing. It wasn't as scary to me as I think it should be. It was really boring, to be completely honest. I got to the 100-page mark. I got to chapter 10, which is page 106. I got to 100 pages. I was not vibing with it, so I'm putting it down. Nothing wrong if you do like it though. But I also did look at some reviews on Goodreads just to see the variation of what people liked, what they didn't like. And I found out 2 things that happened in the story, and I'm like, thank fuck I did not continue to read it, because that would have pissed me off. But I'm not going to say what it is here, because I have a video that I am actually doing where I read this, or, well, read as far as I got into it, and you find out my thoughts all in that when it comes out. I expected this to be scarier, and things are more said than shown through Iris's point of view. It's first person from Iris's point of view, I'm assuming, through the whole thing. And you find out pretty much everything so far through Iris monologuing in her head, rather than seeing it happen. Like Iris, or Vivi and Gray's personalities, she more just talks about what they're like, rather than seeing what they're like. Gray's makes sense because she's supposed to be a mystery, that's like her whole shtick. Vivi is like the punk stereotype, the mischievous one. And then Iris is the meek, awkward kid. It wasn't for me. There is a constant thing about smell in it, like a specific scent, and it did get a bit annoying, mostly because it's just repetition. It is repeated, and I get that sometimes repetition is important in a story, but sometimes you over repeat it, even if it's to prove a point later on in the story. Sometimes it's overdone, and I think they may have overdone it a little bit. I feel bad that I'm DNFing that, but fuck it. That is my little book haul / unhaul of January 2025. Hopefully this video is not too long, because for me it's like 50 minutes, so lovely. Fun times editing that. I'm hoping to read more this year. That's kind of one of my goals. I have too many books that I want to read and just haven't, either because I wasn't in the mood or I was too sad to read. But I have these two stacks are currently for 2 challenges of going through my TBR with the names in the jar and picking them out. This one is the second one I'm doing, which involves House of Hollow. The other book, because it's 5 books each time, the other book that I'm going to start is in my room. And then this one's the first one that I'm doing. I'm on the 3rd book, so that one will be out first. But I'm trying to do challenges to incentivize myself to read more. I'm only doing it with books though. I'm not doing it with my manga, because my manga I always take my time with. I have too many books that I'm not sure about anymore, because I either don't remember what they're even about, or I have other books that I really want to get to and I don't have the room for them anymore. So I need to get through them, and I'm going to be very sharp with the ones that I DNF, because I'm not going to force myself to read a book I'm not enjoying. There's no point in that. There's no point in forcing yourself through a book that you're bored with, that you're annoyed with, that you're just generally not connecting with. I don't see the point in forcing yourself through that. For most of them, I'm giving myself to the 100-page mark, and if I'm not connected by then, I'm DNFing it. Because House of Hollow is very short. It is not a long book, but I got to 100 pages in and you've not grabbed me still, then it's just not for me. Simple as that. But I need to go put these away again, and I need a cup of tea and something to eat. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike, even though I'm the only one that can see that. If you want to, leave in the comments any suggestions on books you think I should check out. But I hope you have a good day and take care of yourself and take care of the pack while I'm away. Bye!